A common question that a lot of my friends ask me: why train? Why train so hard? What's the point, right? If it isn't for aesthetics, of course. I mean, that's a fair point to make. We don't live in a prehistoric Paleolithic era. We don't have to hunt to go get food. It seems like training, heavy weightlifting of any sort or any sort of strenuous physical activity is redundant past the bare minimum, of course. And, one could also argue that just because you're training doesn't mean that you're going to look good all of a sudden. And that's true to a degree, depending on your subjective perspective of what looking good actually means. And to be fair, it is a valid point. Why train at all? So I thought I would address this point by giving my reasons as to why I bother training. I like training because it's very simple, it's very objective. 200 pounds will always be 200 pounds. And contrary to other things in this world, which is subject to subjectivity and bias, training is simple. It's objective. If you can't lift something, it simply means you're not strong enough yet. Then you have to address why and what your weak points are, and then you have to fix them to become strong enough. It's a very no bullshit kind of zone, you see. No amount of complaints with regards to inequality is going to bring your bench press up, aside from yourself. It's a mentality that carries over to the rest of my life. If something doesn't go my way, I simply believe that I am not strong enough to handle it yet. And then I address the problem as though I have to break it down and fix things so I am strong enough to handle it. That gives you a sense of self empowerment that nothing else in this world quite can, because most of us were conditioned to feel helpless when there is an obstacle in front of us. For a period of my life, I did partake in this behavior. Some things in my life didn't go quite the way I wanted it to, and I blamed my circumstances. Was it fair to blame my circumstances? Was it not? No one can really tell. But that didn't change the fact that the time that I spent complaining and feeling sorry for myself, I just wasted. I could have instead spent that time chasing something that I did want. Of course, there are other aspects too. For example, the concept of strength. Your mind and your body are connected in ways that you will not quite understand until you really look into it or until you experience it for yourself through hard physical labor. As you grow stronger physically, your mental toughness also grows. The feeling of meeting external resistance, but pushing past it, pushing past your fears, and getting a little bit stronger through that triumph. It's very primal in nature. It's something that we can't emulate in today's society. Every time I push past that fear, I feel like I've grown a little bit stronger. It helps me push past fears and other aspects of my life. And I can tell you that if you so choose to partake in it, it will bring results that you wouldn't even see coming. Of course, having big muscles and whatnot doesn't uh, doesn't hurt. It looks pretty cool. You stand in front of the mirror and you look pretty badass and you feel pretty badass, but it goes beyond that. And that's my personal reasons as to why I enjoy training.